Good evening, lovely spirits. It's the wise servant here, Mr. Solace. Now, being as though everyone is in a religion, or they come from some sort of religion, I want to do this video today on the truth that lies behind the baptism. Now, everyone should be familiar with the process of being baptized. Now, that whole process of being baptized, there lies a truth behind it. So that's just the surface level of something deeper, almost like in reenactment of something deeper. To give you an example, when people go to church and they drink the grape juice and eat the bread or the crackers, this is like a reenactment of the Last Supper. And the cracker and grape juice is to represent Jesus' blood in his flesh, because this is what he said at the Last Supper. So that whole thing that you do at church, which is a reenactment, that whole thing you do, that whole process, there lies the deeper story behind it. Now, so is the same with the baptism. And it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp, because religion alters truth for the purposes of religion. And it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. There's many different religions, there's many different lies, theories, but there will always be one truth. There's one life. So you have to grasp. If there's only one life, then there's only one truth. And it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Now, I want to break down the truth behind baptism. Now, we all know when Christians get baptized, they're basically dipped in water. And this is to wash them of all their worldly sins, so they can have a sense of rebirth, to be reborn. When you're baptized, this is called being reborn. And this is washing you of your sins. This is why you're dipped into the water. And once this happens and you're reborn, now you're in a sense lined up to go to heaven, to be with God, which is the creator or the allness of the life. So the oneness. So this is the whole process of being baptized. It is to wash you of your sins, so you can have that connection with God again. Now, beneath this lies a deep truth. Because when men are born into this world, they are influenced by this world, and they're influenced by the things that men say, the things that men teach, etc., etc. And this slowly takes a man off his individual relationship with the life, in his process of learning from observing the life and letting the life show him certain things. Because if you're observing the life, well, then you will begin to see things. But if you're not observing life and looking for life to show you anything, then you'll be looking for man and books and things like this. So seek and you shall find whatever you look through. You think you're going to get wisdom through books, you'll have all the book wisdom. But there's a greater wisdom than the things that men say. But for the most part, we're all born into this world. And we're influenced by the worldly things, and we're influenced by the things that men say. And it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. Because there comes a point in time in everyone's life where a person must be baptized consciously, spiritually. This has nothing to do with water, but you must clean your conscience of all the worldly things you were taught and all the worldly things that men have influenced on you. And this is where the Christian baptism comes with the water and cleaning you of your sins. Beneath that lies the conscience and the spirit. And at some point in your adulthood, When you begin to use your own conscious, because when you're a child, you use your parents' conscious. And they tell you how to think or whatever. But when you get grown, you must wash your own conscious. Clean of all that you were taught and all that influenced you. And you must begin to see life and build a relationship with life and begin to learn from life. Free of religion, free of the judgment and rules of men. Just you and the life interacting, learning. So you must wash or clean your conscience and your spirit of all the worldly things in the life. Therefore, you can get that oneness back with the all or the life. So the Christian baptism is just a watered down version of that. It keeps you from dealing with self. When you're dealing with the Christian baptism, it is almost like a child thing. Here, dip yourself in this water and you'll wash clean of your sins, and now you're good to go. But there's no relationship with self. There's no conscious being used in that. There's no real oneness with God. There's no greater conscious that comes to the Christian when they do this. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. They are not reborn because when they're baptized, they still believe everything that they believed before they were baptized. And it's a deep thing you have to grasp. Beneath that whole thing is the deep underlying truth. That all people are influenced by the worldly things of those that come before them. So when you're a child, your parents tell you how to think, they tell you what to believe in, etc., etc. Now at some point in your life, you have to wash your spirit in your mind clean of all that and give yourself a sense of rebirth or being reborn consciously and spiritually. And going through that process of reteaching yourself by using the life as your reference guide. You understand life, then anything that you encounter or read in the life, you can grasp it. So you have to clean yourself spiritually and consciously of all you were taught and all that was influenced upon you. Bring yourself to that reborn state consciously, where you know nothing. And then you go through that process of reteaching yourself by letting the life guide you in truth, uninfluenced by man. And this is when you begin to get a relationship with yourself. Begin to put yourself on the scale. Judge self. Am I a fair person? And truly begin to judge self so that you can get back in line with the balance of life. Everything has to do with self. We think everything has to do with us worrying about everybody else. And this is what religion does. It puts you in a state of complete ignorance to self. You have to believe in this thing and that thing so that you can go to heaven. But there's never no connection in the religion with you getting an understanding of self, for self. It is all a matter of you being told and never seen and experiencing. And you have to just wait till you die. And this is where it's horrible, because you're supposed to be in control of your piece of the life. We all come from the all, and we're our own piece of individuality, but one in that all. And you have to live your individuality so you can learn how you learn, do whatever it is you do, so this can be received back into the allness. And this person has to live their path, in their way, and they will go through their stumbles and roadblocks and adjust and learn their way. And everyone has their own individual path to walk, to learn, to experience, to indulge and choose how far they want to indulge, whether they get lost in the indulgence until they hit rock bottom and they have nowhere to go but back to the spirit and find self. And if that's the path they have to take, and it's a bumpy road, but if that's their path that they have to take, that is their path. And religion interferes with this because it sets everyone on a certain path that they're all supposed to be on. And y'all have to grasp how deep this is. Life is not about good or bad, but it's all about information being received into the allness of the conscious. So everything that we all experience and everything that we all do, it is received back to an allness. So we are all building up the conscious of what y'all will call God. We are all the brain cells of God, just building up God's conscious and God's experience. And this is how God knows all, through all, because all is God when it's together. So it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. I don't want to go too deep, and I don't want to go preacher man on y'all, because that's not what I'm about. I don't preach. I just tell the truth. And it's a deep thing. A lot of truth isn't written down. Whatever truth was written down, it was written in someone's perspective that probably truly didn't grasp. But at some point in y'all life, y'all gonna have to understand that religion is playing a middleman in your life with you having a relationship with the life. Just like the system is playing middleman with y'all having a relationship with the life and growing your own foods and beginning to deal with seeds and figuring out what kind of foods you want to eat and what path and diet you want to take in the life. The same way animals do. Some animals eat meat. Some animals eat grass. They all eat what they choose to eat. And it is the same with man. Just like in the Native American times, those that were in the Bear Clan, they ate a certain diet that was different from those in the Wolf Clan, and everyone was on their path. Because all is one and all is the same. You will get the same nutrients that you get out of meat that you will get out of vegetables. It's all a matter of, we just live in a corrupted world that's business-based. So being as though all things have a price tag, all things will be stretched out and cut down and altered so that more profit can be made off of it. And this is what's truly destroying people's physical. But that is not important. What is important is the conscious and the spirit. And at some point in life, y'all are going to have to truly understand what washing and cleaning your conscious is, what baptizing your conscious is. Because at some point, y'all gonna all have to go through this, or you will die, as a Christian would say, with the sins of the world on you. Y'all will die in the influence of the physical world, and you won't be able to adapt in the spiritual world. And this is why men are born into the physical completely oblivious to the cycle of life. This is why men know they were sperm cells that got egg cells. Sperm is the spirit, egg is the body. Born into the physical from that union. Now men know this science-wise, but they don't correlate it to their life. Completely oblivious that their past life was a microcell within their father. They're oblivious to that understanding, even though they know they were a sperm cell that left their father. So it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp, but you have to begin to wash yourself, your thoughts, of all the things you've been taught and the way things are supposed to be, and you have to take your own path from that day forward and say, okay, today is my first day reborn, washed of all I was taught through religion, through reading, through what this man said and what that man said, and just start from the bare beginnings and just observe the day, observe the night, observe how it's repeating, and just begin to slowly observe and walk your own path. Even if you a cold-blooded killer and you say the path I want to take is just to be the killer. Now, I'm not saying that's cool, and anyone who takes that path, you are completely lost in the life. But we will always have lost spirits in the life. And it's a sad thing, but that path will lead them to truth. All paths lead to the same place. I don't care what religion told you. The worst person in this life, they will lead to the same truth, that they will lead to the same reality we all have to live and lead to. Now, it'll be a bumpy road for them, and it'll be a lot of pain. A lot of experience and information will be received from those who choose to live the harsh way. For those who choose to go against the life and live against the current of life, as opposed to living with the flow of life and finding their path through the flow, those that live against the life, it'll be a bumpy road. But a lot of experience and a lot of information will come from those. As far as the all goes, the all conscious, a lot of experience and knowledge will come from those. But it's a deep thing you have to grasp. You have to begin to have understanding of self, start to begin to deal with self. We have a lot of peer pressures in the world. Even for adults, if you work in the office, you have to look a certain way. You like, dag, my arm broke, my clothes is wrinkled today, I don't even want to go in. So little things like this, how we let the world, how the world views us and things like this takes away a lot of valuable time from you and self, and you getting to know self. And just being one with self and getting to know yourself and the aspects of yourself, the flaws of yourself, not the next man, because the next man has his own path. You have to just know he's going to the same place you're going. He's going the same way you're going, just on his own path. But y'all are both moving forward through the life towards your death, which is the beginnings all over again, the process of being born into the physical. And this is just a deep thing people have to begin to grasp. Religion, all these things that's in religion lies a deeper understanding of things. And religion is keeping y'all from this. So when religion dips you in the water, at some point in life you're going to have to dip your own spirit and conscience and clean it. That is what the dipping in the water is representing. The washing of your conscience of all the material influence. And just saying, I don't care what people think about me. I need to just tap into self for a moment. This is why most people don't run to the forest and just live like a bum for 6 months just to clean themselves of all the drugs. Because a lot of people really want to do that. A lot of people, they just, at a point in their life, they like, man, I just need to get my thoughts together. This is why my life ain't progressing. Because I just got bills coming in and I can't think. And a lot of people, if there was no judgment in their life from their family and people that know them, a lot of people would just run to the forest and live as what we would call a bum. And they would just release themselves from all the strains and pressures of life, like having to have this new clothes and having to have your light bill paid and your gas bill paid and have this car and that, and just being released from all of that judgment and just being with self. Most people will run to the forest and live that way for 6 months to a year just to get their thoughts together. Get all the toxics of the city out of them. Meaning the drugs, the drinking, the toxic air. Just a lot of people just need a break. Because the system is the beast. This is why the scriptures call it that. I know when y'all read Revelations and things and y'all hear the beast and all of that and y'all don't understand, but It's basically talking about the system that we live in, where men have to work for other men and everybody's a worker, just over their workers. So it's a deep thing. But you have to get a sense of oneness with self, begin to start putting self on the scale. Am I fair? Start to understand cause and effect. The things I do today, how will they affect my life 5 years from now? The steps I take today, the course I set myself on today, where will it lead me 5 years from now? See, we don't think in that sense. We think like, oh, I have goals for 5 years from now, but this is only because of the system and money and business. So instead of you looking at the path and the steps in life, meaning the morality and things that you take, where this will lead, the cause and effects, instead of having cause and effect, you have goals. 5 years from now, I want to be rich, I want to be a rapper, I want to have things like this. So you have goals, as opposed to just having a certain sense of morality. Knowing, okay, if I cut this corner today, this will put me on a certain path. Where will that lead? How will that come back and affect me 5 years from now? If I set myself on this course from right now, 5 years from now, I may be in a beautiful green pastures of conscious in life, in a sense. So the choices and decisions we make in life set you on a course. And all those that follow you and come behind you, and the life influences the life. So man influence man. So the course and path of life you take, you will influence others. And you have to put all of this into judgment with self. Understanding how cause and effect works. And it's just a deep thing. A lot of things that men are too busy working and being slaved out and being controlled in the life by every aspect, from religion to the system. So if religion doesn't get them, the system will get them. And it's just a deep thing, but men don't have that time to tap into self and just really begin to put self on balance and saying, you know what, I want to be a perfectly balanced person. Being perfect is not hard. Being imperfect is what is hard. You have to learn all the things that you are influenced by and the way you live and the morality you have. It took you all this time slowly learning all of this. So the personality you have, you've been building up on this all this time. So now when you look at the life and you see how imperfect it is and how imbalanced it is, well, this is because of the living people in the life. That's the personality of the life. However people conscious work and however people live, this is how their life is. So if we all live this way and then we think to ourselves, man, life is horrible. It gotta be a better life than this. Well, you are the life. You're the living in it. If you want the life to be better, then you have to think different and live different. And this is just something that everyone has to do with self. I'm going to make sure I balance myself out, and I make sure I try to walk on a certain course so that those that follow me, they walk on that course. And if everyone individually does this with self, starting with the baptism, washing their conscience and spirit, clean of all that filth that was influenced on them and just starting fresh, being reborn in a sense, viewing self as not knowing nothing, yet having the abilities to grasp more than you could as an infant. So grasp. Infants learn as the more clearer their vision begin to get, the better they could see. And the more they start to learn and be influenced by the things they see. So it's going to be hard to wash yourself, but it's really not hard. You just have to just look at self and understand, man, life that we live here is very imbalanced and it's just not fair. And something is wrong with that. And then you have to acknowledge that men control the life. So it's the religions, the systems, the way we think. All of this has effect with the life we live. So if the life isn't good, it's because of the people. And you have to just begin to acknowledge that. If the people is the reason why the life is bad, then all the things that the people are teaching have to be bad. And I have to just erase all of that from my being and start from scratch with the life and just observe the life and begin to see. I don't know what I should eat. Am I supposed to be vegan or a meat eater? Is eating meat bad? You have to catch yourself and remember, okay, religion set me on that path of good and bad, so let me rinse. I left the spot. And you have to keep rinsing until you get the conscious clear. And then observe the life. And you see how some animals eat grass and vegetation. And some animals eat fruit. Some animals eat meat. Some eat fish. And this is how men can begin to grasp what is good to eat by observing the life. So man knows now, okay, all is truly good to eat. But it's all a matter of how much is consumed. Being as though now I see life eats life. Life sustains itself off life. So this animal, it eats the living vegetation, and that is life, and it eats that. And this animal eats the fruit, and that's living life, but it eats it. And this animal eats fish, and the fish are living beings also. But that animal eats the fish, and that animal eats meat, other animals, and it sustains it. It's living life, but it eats it. And this is how men begin to learn law from life. So now man don't have to be confused and say, oh, what is man supposed to eat? Man is supposed to eat whatever living things he chooses. As long as he has the conscious to grasp, that is living life. And the only way a man can truly grasp that is when he taps in himself and begin to learn from his path individually dealing with the life, letting life teach him. Some animals eat nuts. All animals eat different things. But you see, whatever they eat, it is living life, and it sustains them equally. And then when you observe men, you see, some men eat meat. Some men don't eat meat. But they are both sustained. Neither is no different than the other. He's no smarter than him. He has no better capabilities than him. They're still dying around the same time. So the diet for man is whatever a man chooses to eat. But it's living life. This is why the fasting came into play. Where men fast. It's a deep thing you have to grasp. Men begin to fast because of eating. So it's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. Men eat. When you dealing directly with the life, you see, okay, this eats that. Everything that's being eaten is life. Life is eating life. It's like that, the prey chart. I forgot what it's called actually. But you know, the prey, the order of prey, and how man is at the top. But that is all life. And it's just showing you how all life eats all life. All life sustains itself by consuming another life form. So you have to grasp. And you slowly just learn from life in that way. Erasing all the biasness and all the foolish things that men instill in us. Because an animal's life is not more valuable than an apple's. But this is what religion and the influence of men place upon you. So someone who doesn't eat meat, they view themselves as good. Now, it doesn't matter if you eat. I'm not taking neither side. Because my whole thing is avoid eating as much as you can. But you have to crawl before you walk. But the main thing is this. I'm not choosing sides. What I'm saying is this. The person that doesn't eat meat they view themselves as doing a good thing by the animal. And this is because they kind of overlook the life of what they're consuming, as all things in the life do. So, a vegan has, not a vegan, but someone who only eats vegetables, a vegan basically, they don't really have any regards for the vegetation life and the order of it and the respect that it is living life. And this is because they eat it, but this is what religion and the influence of men put on us. So it's deeper than the religion. We have all these new health kicks and all these different teachings. These are the births and the beginnings of how religions start. So whatever you're following right now is just the beginnings of a new religion. But you have to deal with self and just let life begin to teach you. But you have to see unbiasedly. If you truly want to get truth, you have to observe life completely unbiased of what's been instilled in you. And just observe the way I just described prior, with the observing the animals and seeing how they eat and getting an understanding. Now, most people will hear this and they'll stay in their biased ways of thinking and say, oh, men are supposed to eat this, and certain men, we the tropical people, we supposed to be in Africa, and we supposed to be on a certain landmass to get certain energies, and all of this is not true. This is just the beginnings of religions and instilling falsehoods in you. Man is mobile. Man moves about the planet. Man is not made to be stationary and stuck. So there is no one place in the life that man's body is genetically attached to and he needs to be there. That is all falsehoods. Men are mobile. The whole earth is man's to roam. Y'all have to begin to look at earth as mother, and every part and piece of her is yours. It is your home. There's no one room in the house that is the best room for you. The whole house is yours. Roam about it freely as you choose. If you want to switch rooms and you want to stay on this continent, by all means, respect the life, move in the flow with the life, and the whole earth is yours. Men are not restricted to one area in place that will... This is all foolish talk. This is what religion and biased-minded thinking does. All things have an agenda behind them when they're biased in that way. It's a deep thing you have to grasp. I pull from many different religions in my teaching. Y'all see me teach from Hinduism, and I might explain something to y'all through Hinduism. I'm not biased in an aspect. I learn from the life. I've already went through my baptism, washed my brain clean of all the foolishness, and just acknowledge to myself that all of this is foolish. And when you begin to question a man on his religion or his beliefs, he always comes to a roadblock where he don't have the answer for something, and this is where he begins to tell you things that don't truly add up to nothing or make sense. And I begin to get frustrated with that, so I had to just acknowledge to myself, men don't know. What truly knows? And I said the life, the earth, man. It's what the ancient people learned from the earth. Before men knew anything and was teaching anybody, they was learning from something. The animals, the earth, okay. That's teaching. And I just begin to pull from that, pull from self, begin to balance self out, be truthful with self. I still do it every day. You know, find the balance. Every day you have to adjust yourself and ask yourself and look at self. What flaws do I have? Okay, you're not talking to people so they can grasp this. And just little things about myself that I just acknowledge in every aspect, and I work on it just to balance it out. For others, being as though I live amongst others, If others are more receptive to me, then it'll make my life easier. So we just have to begin to think in that manner and just deal with self. And this will push out a different perspective of self to others. This may influence others, and the energy is all connected. But you have to just start at the bottom, at the basis, and start with the spiritual baptism, where you rinse yourself clean and be reborn. And just start from there and begin to observe life and just understand that man can't teach you better than the life. Any questions you have, you can get the answer from life. Just like I broke down, if I have a question on diet, what should I eat? And how I broke down how you observe the life and how that makes perfect sense. Well, this is how you learn from life. Now, I've been learning from life for quite a while now. So I'm really good at it. But you have to start where you start and learn as you learn. Now, I could give you 1,000 examples like I did with the diet, because this is how I learn. I have questions. I say, man, is there really a God over all? And I just observe life, and I observe how everything is just this piece to a whole. The tree is not over the plants. It's bigger, but it's not over the plants, and you just begin to observe. And you see this man in power and other men following. And you just observe and you realize he doesn't really have power. They just say he do, so they follow him, and then he has power over them. And this attracts more people to follow him and gives him more power, but his power really isn't real. Because it all depends on those who follow him. And then at any moment, they could say, oh, he's an asshole, forget him. And then he'll be powerless. So you just begin to observe the life and say, okay, is there a God over all? Is there a power over all? And as you begin to observe, you realize, no, there's not. All is just one and equal in the life. Some things are greater than other things, but being greater doesn't make you boss over or master over or ruler over. It doesn't work like that. Being greater than something makes you a servant to the thing you're greater than. So a child's parents are greater than the child. But in the same sense, they're a slave to the child. Because they have to teach the child, feed the child, think for the child, watch the child. The child becomes the burden of the parent. The parent is greater, yet the parent is in a sense beneath the child. It is the servant of the child. So this is what I mean by you have things in the life that's greater, but it is only a burden. So it's not a matter of I'm greater than you, I am ruler, but it's a matter of being as though I'm greater. There's a great burden that comes with it. Now, you know, if you teach your kids wrong and rule over them and do things wrong, well, they will be on that course in life, and they will teach theirs the same. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. Things in the life are greater than other things, but they're only greater to take care of those beneath. And all is equal, and it's a deep thing you have to grasp. And when you observe life, you can clearly see that. Yes, man is out of whack. So a man can walk up to a tree and chop it down. But it has no power over the tree or the life of the tree when it chops it down. The spirit of the tree, the life force of the tree, man didn't make that. Man can't physically do anything to that. He has no control over the life or his own life. He doesn't even know what happens to the tree when he chops it down. Spiritually. There's no even thought process of that. So it's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. A man could chop down a tree, but he has no power over the tree, truly. He is just out of balance. And someone will come along and chop him down one day. Why? Because once things are out of balance, they're out of balance. Destruction begins more destruction. So men will destroy trees. They will begin to destroy everything. One thing leads to the next. So you may see cutting trees down as harmless. Ripping a flower out the ground, that's harmless, but this leads to children. They don't have no respect for the trees or nothing because they don't know. They like, I don't see nobody else. This stuff ain't living stuff. It's just trees. And then this leads down the course. It's a deep thing you have to grasp. But you can observe the life. And if you're observing it through pure spirit, clean, baptized conscious, you can learn as I do directly from life. So you see how I just broke down how I can learn from life through truth if there's really a God, and life could literally show me just from taking a moment to observe. But you have to be in peaceful, pure spirit to really observe unbiasedly and not have judgment. Oh, I think animals are better than flowers, so I'm gonna view things that way. Well, if you do that, then you'll view animals as having power over flowers and things like this, and you'll lose out on a lot of truth because animals didn't make flowers, so when they destroy them, they're just disrespecting whoever made them. Now, you know that's truth because if I come along and I destroy something that you made with your hands, you gonna say that's disrespectful, man. Why would you do that, Solace? That was uncalled for, brother. So it's the same with everything. If you didn't make the thing, then you don't need to be destroying it. Let it destroy on its own. And then you can pick up the pieces and do whatever you may need, but let it destroy on its own. And it's a deep thing men have to grasp. Men have to have a spiritual baptism, a conscious baptism. Stop being lost in religion. Get an individual relationship with the life. Nothing happens overnight. But you have to start somewhere. I know y'all know I'm wise. I know a lot of y'all think I'm an asshole and y'all don't like me and all types of things. But you know I'm wise. I learned from life. You can do the same. I've been doing it for a while, so I'm great at it. Once you start, same for you. You'll see from your own aspect and you'll begin to learn from your own aspect. And your truth will line up with the universe. But you'll speak it from your own aspect. So anything I say, I could show you it in the life. The same way I prove to you what is the diet for man. Now, a man could open his mouth and say, you didn't prove nothing really, but I proved it. You watched the whole video if you up to this point, so you know in your heart I proved it. And I proved it by giving you the example straight through the life. The same way I just did with God. Straight through the observation of life. So you can learn from observing the life. And the better you get with it, the more in tune you'll get. It'll almost be like conversation. Meaning the way you talk, you had to learn how to speak and understand the language. Therefore, you could communicate. And then things that are said to you can resonate. So it is the same when you're communicating with life. The more you begin to observe, the more you'll begin to understand. It's like learning the language of life. Then when you learn the language of life, it's more fluid. I can ask a question and get an answer immediately from life because I'm in tune. So now I understand how to communicate with life. I don't speak Swahili. So I would have a difficult time communicating with someone who did. And I would have to learn the way they speak. And up until the point when I learn how they speak, everything will be gibberish and I won't have an understanding of nothing. And they won't understand me and it'll just be a difficult time. But if I could get past that hump and learn the language, then I begin to understand. The things they say is no longer blah, 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 and nothingness. But it is something, and it resonates because I can understand it. And now I can speak back to them, and they can understand me. And now we're in tune. So it's the same with the life. Y'all don't know how to communicate with life, so it sounds like stupid to y'all. Like you can't talk to life, you can't learn from life, and you can. The same way you can't talk to somebody that speaks a different language from you. And if you didn't know men had different languages and you came across someone who spoke a different language, you'll say they're not speaking nothing real. I can't learn that. That's nothing. But it's a deep thing because the language they speaking is really something, but you never heard it or seen it. Everything you ever seen speak the same. So you like, that ain't real? He just going blah, 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 blah. It's no way I can learn that because ain't nothing to learn. And this is how y'all do for life. Me looking at life don't mean nothing. I can see everything in life. I see life every day, but I don't be learning nothing from it because you're not truly observing it. You're not truly in tune with it. Your brain is full of influence and material sin. So you can't communicate. It's a deep thing y'all have to grasp. I hope everyone is blessed. When I say blessed, I mean with knowledge. Because that is the only blessing you can get in life, is answers. And the only way you'll have answers is when you have the efficient amount of knowledge. I don't know why I got my shirt all sloppy looking stupid for no reason. I be doing the weirdest, retardedest things I could think of. And sitting here looking all sloppy and dusty for no reason. I don't know what's the problem with me. Fix myself up. But I got the button up, sweat up, sitting here looking like I got on the bathrobe and all this dusty stuff. I know y'all like, what is wrong? Why Silas all dusty looking, shirt all flipped up? Do we got a shirt on under there? Yeah, the shirt on and all of that. I be bugging out. But y'all got to get in tune with the life, man. It's a beautiful thing. I try to stay in peaceful spirits. And it's a deep thing, man. Judge self, balance self out. Smile, laugh, enjoy. I am not telling you to be holier than thou. Clean yourself of all that. Be you. It's okay. If you're a horrible person, well, you have to just come to that understanding for yourself that you're a horrible person and this is why your reality is horrible. And you just have to better self and find peace and know that it's okay. People gonna judge you. That's why you need that clear space and place of peace with self. And that individual relationship with life where there's no peer pressure and pull, where you have to be this way or look this way. And you can just tap in and just deal with self. And it's a deep thing, man. The more y'all grasp the things I say, the more deeper I can indulge into it. And the more things can resonate with you. So what I just taught y'all, it's deeper. But the more you begin to grasp the things I say, the more deeper I can go. And it's a deep thing. If you lost in religion, then what I say may resonate with you, but you might reject it. Like, I'm going to just stick with... So it's a deep thing. It's all on you, the person. Like, the more you allow yourself to understand, because you don't understand your religion. You're just hoping when you die, everything they said is true and you're going to go to heaven. And that's a horrible reality to leave your spirit in the hands of a hope. When you don't truly have to hope for anything, everything is yours that you want, but you just have to know what is yours and how to access it. So heaven is yours by birthright, but it's just been stolen from you. And you'll never get that. When I say heaven, I mean that sense of being oneness with the Creator and just having a peaceful, blissful existence. That heaven is yours from the moment you came into existence. But the problem is, religion has stole that from you. And you'll never get it back until you get it yourself. Know how to access it yourself. Other than that, you die influenced by men, believing in fairy tales, so to say. when you could have been using this time to line yourself up with the life, to have that heaven and peace. We could all live in the Garden of Eden right now. If we just go outside, rip up all the concrete, understand that all the things we buy and pay for, like food, house, all this stuff, we could all just live free. Everybody just stop. Let's throw money away. And now let's just live from this moment. No more law, no more order, no more wake up, you gotta go to work. Let's just stop. Everybody stop. No matter how rich or poor, status, none of this matters anymore. Just stop. Let's rip up all the concrete, tear down all the buildings. Now let's build ourselves a Garden of Eden throughout this whole planet. Beautiful, beautiful gardens of all kind of food everywhere. Being as though we have to eat, let's just grow beautiful food everywhere. And let's just build beautiful dwelling places to live in. And being as though we all do the building, we all just build our own house, or everyone helps everyone build everyone's house. There's many men on earth. You start building houses. Nice small ones that don't take away from the beautiful garden. And we have airplanes, and let's remove the thought of the business of airplanes, but just let's look at the progress of men and how this is an advancement in something that's good for men. It can get them from one place to another faster. And let's not try to strain the life and make money off this, but this is a new introduction to life, and men fly and go where they want. We have cars now, so okay. We don't need to make money off cars. Now everyone has cars in their life, and everything that somebody creates is just an addition to the life, and it just makes the life more smoother for everyone. This will begin to have people look at the things that they create and what's the healthier way, and because we do things the unsafe way because this is how you control it. So we don't use solar energy because you can't control solar energy. Everybody will have free goddamn energy if you're dealing with solar energy. So they do the energy the way they do it because they can control it that way and charge people money individually for energy. But when you do it that way, it pollutes the planet. It makes the rainwater polluted because pollution rise. It's a deep thing, and it just comes back to haunt us. So just get in line with the life. It's a deep thing. I don't think anyone will ever grasp. I hope y'all do. Because it's a beautiful thing, man. Get some land, build it up, and just live in harmony with the life. Not having the stresses and strains of, I gotta wake up and go to work tomorrow. I gotta pay rent. I gotta buy food. Just imagine not having any of those stresses and strains in the life. Your home is your home, your village is your village, or whatever you want to call it, where you dwell and the people amongst you. There's no such thing as paying rent and all of that. Y'all all have lights, gas, food grows. Y'all take the tomatoes, make ketchup. So everything, how we have it now, it's just free. You just walk and get what you need. Because this is how life produces things. Where you just walk and you get everything you need. It produces itself. So imagine if you didn't have any strains of that in the life, like paying rent, having to buy food, having to buy clothes. You understood the fabrics and materials of things because you was taught all this as a child. So you're great at sewing and getting animal hides when they die and picking cotton and different materials and making clothing, and everyone has their own individual style. Everyone makes their own clothing. Everyone has time to do them because they don't have to wake up and go to work. They don't have to stress and strain about what are they going to do to make sure they eat today and pay the bills. And it's just all free conscious to gather in information and use it to better self. Whatever information is gathered, you have time to use it. So if you learn how to sow in things like this when you're a child, well, now you have the time to sow and do whatever you need to do for self. And this is called working for yourself. And everyone just works for themselves in a sense. And work together in a sense. And we could live in a heaven. Right here, right now. Where it's just beautiful. And people pay attention to how they pollute the earth and dirty it up, knowing that we all live here and this is the house. And just max out, cool out. Life is a vacation. It's whatever you want it to be. Man can't even fathom that. The stresses and strains of life not being on them. Can't even think in that way. And it's a deep thing. It's your main man Solace, the humble wise one. Y'all be groovy.